Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I have something special to share. It's a little diversion project I've been working on in between my regular sized journals and so on. I wanted to try to make one of the mixed media sweet pea mini journals that were inspired in our group by Randy Kirby and then recently by Sheila Gingrich as well from Boho Daydreams. This was a challenge that was in our group, and it was a few months ago, and I just wasn't able to participate at the time, but I really, really wanted to. And after seeing how beautiful their sweet little minis are, I really wanted to try it for myself. So I just took a couple of days, and I knew what I wanted to make at the time was a mini fairy journal. And this is what I've come up with. I've included a few cute little minis here. And this particular journal, hope you can see it. I've magnified the video recording, so hopefully it's going to capture more of the details. But I've named her Alina after my precious little granddaughter. And I have these beads sitting in front of me because I made her a few pieces of jewelry for Easter. And when I was doing the cover for this particular mini, I thought, oh, wouldn't that be just so cute if I can dangle that on the front here? So I strung it on gold metallic thread and then fed it through the holes in the sequins on the lace, and that's what I came up with. Lots of trims. I didn't have too much dangling down at the bottom, but definitely over the side here, as you can see. And I had just the right amount, the absolute most perfect piece of sari silk in this gorgeous woodland green to make a bow, a sweet little bow. And I'm still contemplating adding some fibers to the side, but we'll see how that goes. So if you're interested at all in making one of these, they're easy, a little time consuming, a lot messy, but very fun. Randy has some tutorials available on YouTube. Her channel is The Dreamy Bohemian, and Sheila's is Boho Daydreams. We're all part of the admin team on Boho Daydreams in Facebook. So yeah, Randy has a list of all the ingredients and supplies that you will need and the steps of what's required to do. They're made out of an index card. She used the regular size index card, which is 3 inch by 5 inch, and then you cut them in half after you've applied all the layers and then punch the holes in them and put them together. But I wanted mine a little bit bigger, so I did 3.5 by 5.5 and then cut them in half that way, because I had these fairy stickers that I knew I was, excuse me, can't talk this morning, wanting to use, and they would fit perfectly on the pages, and I didn't want them to be overwhelming on the pages. So I have used also Edith Holden book page, some Alice in Wonderland book page, some music paper, and some beautiful napkins from my friend Jackie Black, who's also on the admin team in our Boho Daydreams Facebook group. They were the smallest napkins I've ever seen, and every panel had a design on it. So for what we do with decoupaging our paper napkins, they are amazing. I would love to find out from her where she got them. But when I saw them, I knew they'd be perfect for a project like this where they just jump out of the page. They're just amazing. I also did some stenciling with my, what's it called? I always have to look at the name. Gilding polish. And I used a palette knife this time, spatula, palette knife, whatever, because mine is getting kind of dry. My paste is getting dry at the bottom. And I tried wetting my sponge to stencil it on, but it was just too wet. So I had to go with this straight from the jar and my palette knife. And then you get a thicker application, but I love that. I love the dimension that it gives. I do have a beautiful bead from Sheila here. One of her gorgeous bead dangles that I think fits this journal perfectly. Can you write in this journal? Oh, Oh, you could write a few words, possibly. A few special thoughts. These beautiful little fairy wings that I've got on a dangly bulb pin here. Toadstool charm. And another piece or two of bling along the way, but not too much. So let's go inside and have a look at this sweet little mini. And I'm calling it my Sweet Pea Fairy Mini for Alina. I hope it's not too glary. There's a lot of metallic in here. After I did all the layers on each page, I sprayed it with my Glimmer Mist Tattered Angels in the iridescent gold, just to give it some more sheen. And I really wanted to do some, what do you call them? Tailings or something like that. These elements here. Earth textures. But I just felt it was going to be too much. It's such a small space to work on. And I thought it had a lot going on. What really adds a lot of charm too is to splatter the pages with gesso once you've finished all the layers. It just gives it such character. I love it. I used cardstock that I had on hand, tea-dyed probably a couple years ago, and it was just too heavy for everything else I wanted to use it for. But when Randy and Sheila were saying you have to use a special kind of index card, it has to be heavyweight cardstock, I thought, I'm going to try it. It did leave things a little bit, you know, bumpy, bendy, whatever, but I'm okay with that. Next time I would try something different. This was for me to just try and see if I could make one of these with what I had on hand. I used scraps. I used everything. I didn't buy a single thing. The only thing I cut from new lace was this piece here because I wanted just 3 of the little scallops. Other than that, everything, well, I didn't buy anything new, but everything I already had. So just look at what you have if you're thinking of making something similar, and go for it. It is so fun to try. I also had some metallic cardstock that I have dry embossed, and I've got several colors just in a stack that I use for my projects. And what I did was I ripped everything up before I even started this so that I had exactly the elements I needed and could just grab them easily and put them on each page. Some stamping. Yeah, it is the coolest thing. So fun to make. Try not to talk so much and just show you the sweet little mini here. This is from a napkin of a bird. It's got a bird and some flowers on it. Some stamping, dry embossing. Some napkins. I have those alphabet stamps so you can make up your own words together. And I use StazOn ink. A little fairy charm here and a tiny tag made out of some tiny floral print. And some beautiful vintage eyelet cotton here. September is my birthday month. Sweet little fairies. Bit of Brahms music sheet paper there. And what I did was I put in just a little tiny piece of ephemera tag from Graphic 45, their fairy set, which I've used so many times. I've made a lot of fairy journals, but I do love them, and I do believe in fairies. Some beautiful vintage lace. Just a page flap here. You can see you've got space to write some notes in. Sweet little images of the fairies and the decoupage napkins that go just so perfectly. Thank you so much, Jackie, for thinking of me. some beautiful trim that I have. Really love it. It's so sweet. Some yellow floral decoupage napkin underneath that. Stamping. So you use 12 index cards, cut them in half, and then that gives you 48 page sides. So easy to make, but it does create a nice chunky little mini. And we've got some Battenberg lace, a very small doily here that I put in between the pages. Decoupage napkin. And I stamped a fairy up there. And just a little snippet I made and put a little vintage yellow button on there. These are all just scraps that I had in my little basket from previous projects. And this beautiful piece of vintage lace in the eyelet cotton. I just glued it on, even though I knew it was going to cover some of this. I didn't mind. I thought it was just the sweetest thing. You could tuck, let's see if I have something here. You could tuck something in here if you wanted to. Have to be really tiny though. I just stamped the word believe. Sometimes less is more. I did put a lot on these pages. That's my style. I really like it. But you can make it as simple or elaborate as you like. Just a piece of a snippet from one of Sheila's textile bundles. Perfect color for this little mini. Some more stamping and stenciling and embossing, and then this beautiful applique that I've attached here on this side. Some more decoupaging with the napkin, and we're coming to the last page here. And I stamped the word dream on the very end. And that's my little mini. Just using, it's a ring bound mini journal. And I had so much fun making it. I'd really encourage you to check out the tutorials from Randy and give it a go for yourself. I think you'll really love the results. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a fabulous day.